Kaitlyn Holdmeyer, who comes highly recommended by me because I worked with her at the School Sisters of Notre Dame in St. Louis, where she was for 4 years. Unfortunately, she left for a corporate job, but she is going to share with us today about creating videos that make an impact, having a plan, creating a timeline, reaching out to interview subjects, and keeping it simple will help us get the most impact out of our videos. Kaitlyn will share how to do so on a small budget with limited resources, as well as offer us tips for a one-person team. Kaitlyn Holdmeyer.
Hello. See if I can get the computer working. It's thinking about it. Maybe not. Did I mess it up already? Okay. I'll say it was working. Sorry.
It's okay, no problem.
Okay. So please forgive me for any stumbling or reading or speed talking. I went into film so I don't have to talk in front of an audience. So my passion has always been behind the scenes and learning the stories of my subjects. The one most consistent theme throughout my presentation will be that everyone has a story. It is your job behind the camera to find that story and to show it to others the most visually interesting way possible. So let's start with my story. That's an awesome picture my husband took of me when I was in our undergraduate program filming. So I attended Webster University in St. Louis to get my undergraduate degree in film production and history. Film production was my true passion. With all the electives we were forced to take, I also got the history degree. While I was getting my history degree, I fell in love with international relations. In 2010, I traveled abroad to 5 Webster University campuses to get my master's. While I did not specifically pursue a career in international relations, I learned a great deal about nonprofit organizations, and that is where the next 12 years of my career led me. In 2011, I started my first real job with the Missionary Oblates of Mary Immaculate in Belleville, Illinois. I worked for their fundraising department and helped donors with their annuities and estates. During that time, the communications department was looking to introduce more videos onto their website for their donors. While I was not out filming, I was able to help the communications department by editing some of their videos to share on the website. This is when my film degree and my passion kind of came together. I then transferred jobs within the Oblates and became a donor advisor, where I traveled and met with donors to raise more funds. This was an amazing opportunity to travel again, which I loved. While I loved this job, my husband and I just started a family, so traveling was no longer possible. A director of development position opened at St. Francis Cabrini Academy in downtown St. Louis. The Cabrini is a wonderful school that accepts lower income families from all backgrounds. Regardless of the parents' ability to pay for tuition, students are accepted. Cabrini to me was the perfect blend of nonprofit, international relations, donor relations, and communications. I was able to do a little video work, create communication pieces, and meet with donors to help the school build a much needed playground and raise enough to incorporate laptops into the curriculum. While working at Cabrini, I truly realized my passion for communications. After having my second daughter, a position with the School Sisters of Notre Dame in St. Louis opened. Working with the SS&D was a wonderful opportunity to build my communications portfolio. In my 4 years working for them, I perfected my skills, helped establish a podcast series, and truly discovered my passion for creating videos. Videography has somehow interwoven throughout my 12 years career in nonprofits. In some ways, I was pushing against the call to make videos. I had lost my desire to deal with all the technical aspects of making videos. But at its core, making videos takes project management, a passion for learning your subject's story, and a little bit of technical knowledge. After my many years working in nonprofits, I now work in the corporate world at a company called Core in Maine, which is the leading distributor of water infrastructure products throughout the United States. I work as the video lead, which has offered me the opportunity to find the stories of associates across the nation. I've hinted briefly at my children, so I couldn't miss the opportunity to share them off a little bit. My husband and I have 4 daughters, ranging from 7.5 to 2 years old. We for sure have our hands full, but through it all, we together continued to pursue our passion of making films and telling a story. My husband and I have been freelancing for nonprofits and organizations in St. Louis for the past 10 years. You might be asking, why is she sharing so much of her story? I want to remind you all, everyone has a story. There are little nuggets within my story that any one of you could pull into a quick video to engage an audience. So now I'm going to show you these 2 videos that my husband and I created for the Bach Society and Celia the Puppets. Each has a little different structure, but they are telling their story. These types of videos are considered documentary style, which we will cover in my next slide. So bear with me clicking these because they've been opened, hold on. There we go, that should work.
He writes such beautiful music that at the same time is so complex. And being able to be the storyteller and being a guide through that for the audience is a very difficult thing to do.
Yes. Doing something this grand, a duet, 2 dancers for one entire suite, it's essentially 25 minutes, and it's a huge undertaking for me, for the dancers, but it's super thrilling to be part of something that is celebrating such legendary music.
There's something I kind of call the Bach effect, in which it takes over your brain. You're practicing and you're specifically going to work on one section of the piece, and before you know it, you're at the end, and you don't know what happened. There's some sort of strange mind control that goes on with Bach.
This is a first-time collaboration between the Art Museum and the Bach Society, and between a dance company and the Bach Society all together. And the fact that this hasn't been done before is exactly a reason to keep this kind of work going.
The listener is really transported into this journey. He brings so much life to music that I think is translatable at any age and in any era. There are thousands of composers that have lived since the time of Bach, and yet so few really survive and thrive like Bach, and there's a good reason for it.
Thank you. Having to work off 2 screens here. Oh. And then I'm going to show you one more.
1, 2, you know what to do. Hey. The Celia and Little Celia show is pretty much Celia's sing-along dance party, but I'm interrupted by a very good friend of mine, Little Celia. The Celia and Little Celia show.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, the Little Celia. Oh, and Celia will be here too show. Y and Z, now I know my A.
All live music done by Celia and live puppeteering done by me. There are about
5 different puppet characters, and you'll get a live musical puppet experience that you won't find anywhere else.
Tell me, what are those big teeth for?
Not only do we choose like some sing-along songs that people know and can sing along to, such as The Cat Came Back and the ABCs, but we also write and develop our own songs based on the puppet characters that we've developed. A puppet show is usually a kid's first experience with live theater. It's the first introduction to learning about literacy and storytelling.
One more time. Oh, the cat came back the very next day.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so these two types of videos were documentary style, but to fully understand what that means, let's cover the 3 basic video types. Cinematic, this is what you would go to the movie theaters to see. It's a big production, usually involving multiple characters, huge sets, massive budgets, and a few Hollywood actors. Cinematic videos usually are fictional or loosely based on true stories. Documentary style are these 2 videos. It involves storytelling from a person's point of view in an interview style setup. You can find bigger productions of documentaries on PBS or Netflix. As for social media, when I was pursuing my undergraduate degree, social media videos was never discussed. But the need to desire for videos is growing. Per Facebook, in a study shared last year, their platform will soon only be videos. People are consuming videos at a higher rate. These social media videos need to be between 30 seconds to 2 minutes long. And even the 2-minute videos are no longer being watched to the end. You can now lose someone's interest in the first 5 seconds. Unfortunately, social media is the platform everyone in this room needs to focus on. I would like to share a social media post I created for the SSND. At the time, like 5 months ago, this was the perfect video length. But watching it again, there's plenty of content that can be cut in order to hold the audience's attention. We're going to try it again. Let's see. Oh, I opened it twice.
I went to Assumption Grade School in St. Paul, and I was taught by the School Sisters of Notre Dame. And you have to know, I was a wild kid. But anyhow, in the 5th and 6th grade, I had a wonderful, wonderful teacher, Sister Thelma Fetch, and she's up here now, and she's in her 90s. Beautiful, beautiful woman, and she was just so loving to us, and she was an excellent teacher. I loved learning, and I was very good, and she would be outside with us, playing with us, doing all that kind of stuff. And I said, I want to be like her. There's something about her. And so I always went, but still, after the 7th and 8th grade, it got worse. After she left, and I got worse and was kind of wild. And I had Sister Giovanni. You ever hear of her? With Guadalupe Area Project, she was very strong, very good on that. She had a hard time with me. And of course, I was after school one day, and they said, I don't know, she said something, Kathleen, you're a pain where a pill can't reach. And some of the boys were up there, and they said, Sister, you better watch out, she's gonna be a nun someday. And she said, if she becomes a nun, I'll eat my shirt. Well, on my 25th anniversary of profession, who comes to my party with a cake made as a shirt and eats the cake, the shirt? Isn't that cute? And so it was like, and I loved teaching. And so I loved it. I just loved the kids, and I loved teaching wherever I went. I loved teaching. I still have kids, because I had in 1st grade that still contact me, things like that. And we always had a good time, but we learned things too.
Thank you. like you can see that there are definitely clips and parts where that could be cut easily. Well, let's get this out of the way. Okay, I think I got rid of it. No, you can still see it. Uh-oh. Just what you want to hear in another video. Hold on. Let's just close it. Okay. Oh. So now let's discuss the most important aspects of making video, the production. There are 3 types of productions. The most important aspect is pre-production, something as communicators you do every day. In pre-production, you make the plans. You decide the story, start creating interview questions. You figure out how many people you need to interview, who to interview. You contact your interviewees. My tip here is to keep in constant contact with someone who agrees to be interviewed. Send follow-up emails. Send a list of questions at least a week in advance. Sometimes you will interview and they need to be prepared, so set times to be interviewed regardless if they do the interview themselves or with you. You create your budget, you create your timelines, how many videos you hope to get out of your interviews. All of these are steps you already take when planning your newsletter or your annual social media calendar. Why not wrap your videos into these stories you're already planning on making? So the production is very important, and that this is where you get all your footage. Here are a few tips when recording video. So record horizontally, not vertically, when using an iPad or iPhone. Always record motion. This is for the B-roll. You will want that motion to use as a transition when you're editing. When filming the interviewee, try to have something interesting behind them, but don't let anything look like it's coming out of their head, like a tree or a plant. Never record with the light coming into the lens. The light source should always be behind or slightly above you holding the camera. It comes into the lens, it will be too bright and throw off your exposure. If the light is too high, you could get weird shadows on your subject's face. Some of these you already know when you take photos for communications. So always try to record in a quiet area. This is not as important when filming social media, but it's always something to consider. I will cover more on the video equipment in the next slide, but I want to share another important tip, being that after you have all your footage captured, make sure to back it up in different places. I personally use 2 hard drives, 1 drive, and that's all my original files before I even begin editing. And finally, we have post-production, which is editing. This is where you pull all your footage together to tell your story. Video editing can be very technical or pretty straightforward, especially if you already have the Adobe Creative Suite. You already know most of those tools. They're all very straightforward if you have that suite. If you have someone who can do the technical video editing for you, fantastic. But if not, my suggestion would be to use the Adobe Creative Suite and download the app Premiere Rush. This application is very straightforward and is for your phone or your iPad, although I'm mostly going to focus on iPhones. So my other main tip here is to use an audio music track under everything. It sets the mood and it ties the whole thing together. So when I arrived yesterday, I asked 3 lovely St. Louis people if I could use them to be in a quick video. So this was quick and painless. With my one request, I went through all the stages of production. My pre-production was reaching out to them and asking if I could interview. I provided the question and we discussed times and locations to do the video interview. Then I interviewed all 3 of them. I captured some B-roll or extra footage of the hotel and last night's outing for my introduction and throughout the video. I then went through the stages of post-production. I want to show you a quick video of me editing on my phone in Premiere Rush. Please forgive the video orientation. When you're recording your phone screen, you can only do it vertically. And there is no music under this, like I said you should do, because this is me editing. So right now, I'm just clicking the assets. That's it, and pulling them all into this project. I did speed up my editing, so it does take a little bit longer. Most of this is all with my finger, with the touch screen, doing everything. I accidentally deleted some assets, so I'm pulling them back in. And when you do the B-roll here, you do want to mute whatever you recorded on your phone and just have the audio playing for your subjects. So that was pretty straightforward and easy application. So I will show the video a little later, the final product. Sorry, I'm in the wrong thing again. Click on this one. Okay. So since you are all here representing Catholic nonprofits, I would be remiss not to discuss how to work within a budget. Nonprofit budgets for video can be dismal or non-existent. It can be very challenging to convince leadership that video is the next step in communications. My tip here would be to figure out how to convince them. When you return to work next week, see if you can get a quick production together with the one goal in mind, gathering analytics. Leadership always wants analytics. You will find that your highest video on social media is your videos, your highest posts. If it might be your first video, they will catch on. So it might take a couple videos, but they will catch on. Another tip to work within a small budget would be renting camera equipment. My suggestion would be to always rent. A few reasons in particular, you won't have the time to keep up the maintenance of camera gear. Technology is constantly changing. If you purchase a camera, it will be outdated in less than a year. Camera equipment is easy to rent and is easy to ship. If you have sisters living in a different part of the United States, you can easily ship it to them. So when you go to travel to film on shoot, you have it there and it's ready for you. That being said, all video equipment can be very technical and will cost between $500 to $4,000, depending on the amount of gear you need and the length of time you need it. So my suggestion would be to ask for a budget to purchase an iPhone specifically for purpose of video. Why an iPhone? Simple. It's easy to use, easy to train to use, others to use, and would be small enough to take anywhere. The iPhone has advanced over the past few years to outshine many production cameras. There are plenty of cinematic movies being filmed completely only on the iPhone. That being said, you would need to purchase a more recent one in order to get the sharpest image. My suggestion would be to choose an iPhone Pro 13 or 14 because it has all the lenses on the phone you need to capture the best footage. Once you have the phone, make sure to download Premiere Rush. I keep bringing up Premiere Rush, but it really is a great phone application that is easy to edit on. With this iPhone and app, you can quickly and easily produce great videos. Another benefit of a phone would be if your congregation has people working in more remote areas and you don't have the budget or time to travel to them, you could easily mail the phone to them, walk them through how to record, and then have the phone mailed back to you, and then you have everything you need right there on that phone already ready to edit. Again, this will save you money as well as having to learn technical skills needed for the camera equipment. Now, I would like to show you the final video I created from the 3 St. Louis people. I filmed this video on my iPhone Pro 13 and edited completely in Premiere Rush. You briefly saw me editing the video. Now let's watch the final product. We're gonna try again. Set the mood.
Hi, I'm Laurie Lindauer. I'm with the School Sisters of Notre Dame. This is my 3rd CWR conference, and I love coming to them because it's professional development, but it's specifically for those of us who work with women religious, and that's just been so helpful for me in my position.
I'm the Congregational Communications Director for the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet. I've been coming to the CWR conference for I think this is my 8th conference, And I love the conference because it's such a great opportunity to actually connect with people in person and to give myself some mental space to think big and let some creative ideas flow.
Hi, I'm Jenny Beatrice. I'm with the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet, St. Louis Province. And I love coming to CWR, as I have been for the past 15 years. I've been a member, for the great speakers and the great networking. I love getting new ideas, even if it's just one thing from a presentation or just one gem that I hear from a colleague. It makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, I was holding that with my hands like this the whole time. Okay, this video can now be used on CWR's social media and website. The people featured could easily share it with colleagues and encourage them to attend next year's conference. There are so many different options and ways to use this video, so always make a plan for your videos. When you're in the pre-production stage, make sure to consider how to get multiple videos out of one interview. If someone is taking the time to do an interview with you, chances are they will answer as many questions as you have. So ask as many as you can. Be sure to share your questions in advance, though, and always state that more questions may arise during our conversation. That way, the interviewee is always prepared for more. While planning for different videos, make sure to consider all the platforms you would want to share your videos on. As we discussed, social media is a must, so make sure to edit a 30-second to 1-minute video. Other ideas would be to share on your website. It could be a mission video, or a full article story could be written, and it's a bonus video. Or you could create an email campaign with the video. As an awareness, at this time, videos cannot be plugged into emails. However, the video can be linked to a site that you host through, so YouTube or Vimeo. You can always create a graphic that looks like the video will play by clicking on the image, but then it goes straight to the video page that you host on. When it comes to your production and actually filming your interview, make sure to capture more. People don't always want to see talking heads, especially if you are trying to invoke a response, such as donating or liking your post. You will want to show the interviewee doing something, maybe something like talking, something they're talking about, have them interact with other people, anything that you can lay over the interview as B-roll. If you are sending the phone for the interviewee to film, or you will record an interview through Teams or Skype or any platform that you already do meetings through, you can video. I do have a list of tips and tricks that you can tailor towards your film abilities, which I can share with Brian for any of you. So to wrap it up, the best way to make an impact with your video is to keep it simple. By working hard at project management in your pre-production phase, which again, you are already doing when you're planning newsletters and social media calendars, you will find that everything moves smoothly. If it doesn't, it's the perfect opportunity to learn for next time. But plan, and try to keep your production as simple as possible. And remember, everyone has a story to tell. It is your job to find that story. You edit through the ums, pauses, and ramblings, add some background music and some B-roll, and then you find that story. That's it. So if you have any questions, I'm here for you. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Yes, they do. I'm not sure. I do. I mean, most of the time you do have Adobe Creative Suites. I know we did with SSND. So it is definitely an application to look into, to getting Adobe Creative Suites. It will give you access to tons of applications in order to create. I am just a Mac person, as you can see. I'm advertising, unfortunately. But you can definitely edit and record video through Android. I mean, it still is the same thing. Now, I don't know if they have Premiere Rush, but I would assume that that application is accessible through all phones. Yes. It does have more. Premiere Rush is still in the beginning phases of people trying to, advertise to people who use Adobe Creative Suites. If you're comfortable with iMovie, use it, please. But if you know Adobe Creative Suites, the applications, it's very simple to pick up. It's just as easy as iMovie. Yes? Awesome, thank you. She said that in Android, you can do the same thing through the Premiere Rush and link it to. Film more. Is that what you're saying? Filmora. Oh, okay. Okay. Yes. I filmed vertical the whole time. I turned my phone this way. Oh, you turned vertical? It's horizontal, thank you. Yes, I was horizontal the whole time. Okay, yes. Yes, it is. So when I was editing, I couldn't record my screen vertically. Yeah, I tried that. I tried to edit in Premiere Rush vertically. It wouldn't let me do that, so.
To pull that ambient noise out, or would you need an outboard mic for that?
You probably could. I only spent like an hour playing with that, but yeah, it has a lot of, there's an audio button on there, and it had a lot of features. So you can start playing with it, and I mean, my recommendation would be just to play with the app, see what you can do with it.
Do you have some recommendations about capturing audio well from a device? Sometimes you can't be close enough.
Sometimes you can't be close enough. Again, I would say try to choose a room that's quiet. We did not choose rooms that were quiet, so obviously you could hear a lot of people around us. And when I recorded my actual other videos, we had a boom mic, so we would turn off the air conditioning. Nobody would be around. You'd turn off everything. But obviously, this is social media. People don't really care, sadly. They just want to consume the videos, and they're not worried about your background audio. So I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, try to get in a quiet room, but don't worry about it too much.
If you don't have Creative Suite, Adobe Spark, Adobe Express, formerly known as Spark, is free. And has a great suite of video editing tools, and will resize it to vertical and horizontal and export it in various sizes. So if you're mostly looking for social, Express is a really great option especially if you don't have access to Rush.
Right, and I don't know if most of you have used Canva as well, but you can pull your videos into Canva. Now, most of that is graphics that you add to the image. It's not as video editing as this is. It really is just, hey, I want to show this one clip, and you pull it into Canva, and it'll edit. Yes? A question about music copyrights. Yes. Yes. Oh, there's copyrights to everything, yes. So you do want to make sure that you if you have the Adobe Creative Suite, you can purchase through the stock. They have music there that you can use anywhere. But there are also free websites that have them. My #1 site is bendsounds.com. They have like 50 to 100 free to use. All they want you to do is put a little link at the bottom. I usually, my description, go all the way to the bottom of the description and write their website. You just write their website. It is free music. bensounds.com. BEN Sounds, SOUNDS.com. There are tons of free websites where you can get free, you just have to search, you know. Not anymore. They won't. YouTube actually does have free music as well that you can download, but theirs is not the best and easiest to use either, so.
I was just gonna,
No, go for it.
in terms of audio, I can't recommend the lavalier mics enough. Honestly, they're like $40 on Amazon, and you can just feed it through the person's shirt, and you barely see it. They can clip it to their lapel. Some of them are singular, some of them split into two if you're interviewing two different people. So those are just a really, really great way to get really quality audio off your iPhone. They're just called lavalier mics. There's all different kinds. You can search it on Amazon.
My one suggestion for lavalier mics is just to remind your subject to not move, because you will pick up every little movement that they have. And if they're really good mics, you can even hear their heartbeat. So it just depends on where you put them on their lapels. So, and actually iPhones do have or any phone actually has plug-in mics that you can use that are little tiny boom mics that you can attach to your phones. Those are like $20 to $30 on Amazon as well. Okay, one more question. Okay, anybody?
Can you talk a little bit more about lighting again?
Lighting?
Yeah.
Yes, so lighting should be behind you as the camera person and maybe slightly above. You just don't want it on, you don't want shadows on their face. If it's behind you, you'll get all that light into your lens and it'll kind of blow it out. So it's just like taking photographs. If you have the light behind the subject, you lose all of your depth in the video. You can be as close as you want, depending on how you want to frame the person. I chose to stand back. In my CWR video that I made, I chose to stand back some so you could see the person. But you want to be kind of, you can be chest length if you want, and kind of up. Videos now are, they're way more forgiving, so you can cut off people's heads. People just don't really mind anymore. But when I was in school, it was always recommended to give a head length and to not go below the elbow. Yeah. Yes? We're good? Okay, thank you.